Jeff, just give us a little bit insight into Bicester schooling track. Obviously, you've been here many, many years. Star Sports are contributing towards some of the costs of the track. I know you've been struggling to maintain, and obviously the costs, keeping the schooling track going. What's your views on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if it hadn't been for Star Sports coming on board, a few months ago, I put a for sale notice up. Unfortunately, I didn't get many takers, which I suppose with the current greyhound situation, that's understandable. But if they hadn't come on board, I would have closed it at the end of the year and just put it back, sold it back to farmland, which I could sell to the farmer next door. So that wouldn't be an issue, but it's a pity that these facilities would be gone. And I mean that, although I've got 4 lads that do the main of the donkey work with Darren and Josh and everybody else at Swindon, which everyone knows. You know, we have got a lot of knowledge, but when I approached the GBGB and I could show you 2 or 3 letters that we've had from them, unfortunately we can't help you. You're first class, but we can't help you. Now, that to me is ridiculous, really, but I suppose it's the way they want to work. If they don't want the experience that I've had over the years, improving tracks, like even revamping Walthamstow and Bellevue, and the best track I've ever done, I mean, starting back with Reading back in the 70s, and all this experience is going to waste because no one will listen to how you work. And I'm sorry to say that some of the tracks are in a shocking state today. That's my honest opinion. And the other thing that I could never believe is that an air driver doesn't pass a test. Well, Carly, you could be an air driver, because all you got to do is sign on the dotted line and start tomorrow. You don't have to pass a test. And when you pay big money for greyhounds, they go to the bend. Nobody can judge those greyhounds. I can feel dogs running when they're coming up to the bend. I can tell whether it's a good dog or a bad one. And I mean, I do a lot of schooling for Rab McNair and Dave Mullins and John Mullins, everybody, even Patrick Janssen back in the day. I've done a lot of dogs for him, and Paul Salas, who's been with me, Kim Billingham, all the Midland trainers. They all use the facilities, but unfortunately it doesn't, with the amount of racing now, they haven't got the time to bring the pups, is what they tell me. So I don't know where it's going to end up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, obviously Bicester's been here a long time, and you know, you've put a lot of effort into the track. The track surface is absolutely amazing. Obviously, looking at it today, haven't been here for a long time, but it's not much has changed. But obviously the track is amazing, how it always is. How big of a loss would that be if this was to close?
Well, I mean, we scored 15 produce stakes winners. We've won every race in the calendar, including Derby Winners, Oaks, the only race, 2 Springboks, because I do hurdle trials, 2 Springboks, but I've never won the Grand National, I'll be honest with you. That's the only race I haven't won in the calendar. And this year, I mean, I've scored some good pups for Rab, which I think, and hopefully he'll win again to make it 16 at Swindon in a couple of weeks' time.
Jeff, talk us through all the work you've done on tracks in the past, because you've shown me this lovely book with a lot of history, which I didn't even know sort of existed really, but you've sort of been around a long time.
No, don't say that. You make me feel older than I am now. I'm trying to keep going. No, to be quite honest, I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and you know, without the wife Heather supporting me, I couldn't have done half of it, because it is a lot of hours. I was always on the road, you know, with Coventry. I was up there every day. I used to come home every day, and from morning to night you're gone again the next day. But you can see some of the conditions that we worked in when we built Coventry, because it was in the middle of winter when we were working. That was the start of the track, the base, and then you can see the amount of sand that we put on to make sure that everything's safe, and then it ends up like that, which is brilliant. Everybody said it was the best track and would have had the Derby, and I personally think that if the GBGB had got behind Harry Finlay when we went back, the Derby would be there now, definitely, because there was nobody more keener on dogs than Harry. But the DBGB seemed to put more obstacles in front of him than his horse Denman ever faced. So it's silly really, but nobody can work together, unfortunately. They've told me that I won't get any track work because I'm too good at what I'm doing. And when I asked the question, a certain person said to me, well, if you can't do the job properly, you know, for the money, it's a lot of money. They can't afford to pay me what I want to do the job. And I said, well, you only get what you, if you want a job to last, it's got to be done properly. To which they replied, there'll be no dog racing in 5 years' time, and I'm aiming if they want me to. I don't mind, because they're no help to me whatsoever, unfortunately. I've tried to get out with this schooling track. I could show you letters various over the years that I've applied for help, for just to get some sand and stuff like that to help us out. And they think that pups are already schooled and ready for racing, which I can assure you everyone's an individual, but we give them a fair crack. And we used to trial at Bicester 3 days a week. Now we're down to 1 day, and I've got to incorporate pets racing to keep the track open even. But now we've got Star Sports on board. This is a great lifeline to me, and let's hope it continues, because we can see light at the end of the tunnel now. Which, if they hadn't come on board, we would have been finished by November, and it would have gone back to farmland, unfortunately. But they've saved the day anyway regarding greyhound racing, and should be applauded for this, I think.